Well, hello, hello.
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 We are not just us today. There's a new voice here.
Yeah, there's another voice in the chamber.
Three voices in the chamber today.
That's an ominous way of putting it.
Yeah, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you both for having me today.
Of course.
My name's Eric. I go on the internet as This Is Visser. I'm a Twitch streamer over on my Twitch platform. I post some content sporadically other places. And I got invited on the show to talk here about a very interesting topic that I happen to know more than the average person today.
I'm Kate,
And I'm Jane, and this is Creeps and Coffee.
a show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night.
and the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee.
And let's have a chat.
So, for those of you who have been listening for a while, you will have all heard my plight to join a certain group that I will never be allowed to join, and it drives me nuts. But you guys will all know how interested Jamie and I are in Freemasonry. And now we have a semi-expert in the field, I would say, who is able to...
I feel like that's a little bit of an overstatement.
The inside scoop,
Yes,
if
we
you
have
will.
the inside scoop.
Yeah, so I guess I should explain a little bit about myself when it comes to Freemasonry. Even longtime viewers of my stuff might not know. I'm a member of Freemason, or I am a Freemason. I'm a member of a lodge, and I don't want to dox myself as to what lodge that I'm a part of, but I'm a member of a lodge here in the state of Massachusetts under the jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts. We'll probably get into it a little bit more with some background stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just a member, I am an officer of the lodge, a fairly low-ranking officer, but I'm currently serving as the inside sentinel of my lodge.
Ooh.
Which for the uninitiated means that I am the guard on the inside of the door to make sure that no one gets in to hear our secrets.
So you have to protect everyone from Caitlin from trying to get in.
Yeah, I was
Pretty
going to say,
much.
so you are my enemy here. Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I see
So
how
in
it's going to be.
Freemasonry, there's two guards essentially to the door. There's one on the outside called the Tyler who carries a sword for symbolic reasons, and then there's another guard on the inside,
Right.
myself, that covers the inside. I don't keep a sword on me.
That was my next question.
Do you have another weapon?
No.
I can
mean-
tell you, James has a sword that you can borrow if you would like.
I do.
She's very
You have a
proud of
sword?
it.
That's sweet.
I do, yeah.
She is very proud of it. Okay, so
That's
It's
super
purple.
cool.
my initial question that I didn't even think about before, but you saying that you're sort of guarding the inside. So from the little that I know about a certain person that we'll talk about later, I know there's lists of members who attend certain meetings, certain events. Do you have to, is it your job to check the list? Do people just sign in when they get to the lodge? How does entry into it work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So everyone signs onto a list outside the lodge. In terms of any members of the lodge, have a members section. Any officers like myself, there's usually lines for each officer slot, so I would write my name next to the inside sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
And all the members join the lodge before the doors close. So I don't have to sit there guarding as people enter the lodge. I am there
Okay.
to make sure that no one interrupts during the middle of a meeting that's not supposed to be there.
Right. That makes sense.
That's mainly what the goal is. I mean, in the modern day and age, there's not going to be a whole lot of people that will want to masquerade into a Freemasonry lodge. And we'll get into it, but we really don't do anything that... I mean, we do some cool stuff, but it's nothing that's like, oh my god, they're killing the goat inside there. This is the ritual sacrifice part. There's none of that stuff happening.
Or so he wants us to believe. I don't know. Well, that's interesting. I mean, that it makes sense that you would sort of have the sign in before. But It's interesting.
Yeah, it's also just for roll call. We keep
Yeah.
a lot of documents on everything, and then a lot of that gets kicked up to the Grand Lodge, and I'm sure that it's all digitally stored somewhere nowadays, but, we keep meeting minutes on everything. I know, it sounds like we're like a, college club and not a, hundreds and hundreds of year old fraternal organization.
It's interesting, though.
I was gonna ask, is it like a fraternity? Do you guys just casually drink beer and watch football together?
So, it's kind of interesting. I have drank alcohol. I'm not a beer guy, but I have drank alcohol and watched football with people from.
I knew it.
With people
I knew
from
it.
there. There's been certain times where we have a TV downstairs in like our lounge area of the lodge, if you will, and if there's a football game on, we'll kick it in the background. But there was an interesting issue in my jurisdiction where it started to get too rowdy ahead of time, where people were having a bunch of drinks and getting slammed before we had to go upstairs for the meeting. And there's certain like ritual and stuff that we do inside. Now we use the term ritual just to describe like theater-esque things that are done in terms of lines and phrases that are said.
Right.
But people were getting so hammered in certain lodges that our Grand Lodge had to crack down and make a law that we cannot have any alcohol before the meeting happens. After
Oh
that,
my god.
I love
we can
that.
go nuts. Yeah, there's certain lodges that have younger crowds towards like college campuses and things like that, and I have heard some crazy, wild stories of some of like the crazy drinking games that have happened at some of those colleges. So it can be a frat in the traditional sense. In my case, it's not, but in every lodge has a different vibe to it. And I'm sure that I wasn't in a college frat, but I'm sure that there's tamer frats and less tame frats.
It's interesting to me how, like, I wonder how that aspect of it, the fraternal bonding, and, like, in modern day, obviously there's the drinking games and all of that sort of party lifestyle, I guess, that you think of. But it would be interesting to think of how that has shifted from when Freemasonry was initially founded and when all of these lodges initially opened. What was their bonding like? What sort of things were they doing? Were they still drinking ale and, like, doing all those?
Yeah, I'm now imagining George Washington shotgunning a can of beer.
Exactly.
And thank you for that image in my head.
That's the kind of image that I love to picture.
No, I imagine that they were very high class in doing, X, Y, and Z back in the day. I mean, we try to be nowadays. So within my jurisdiction, everyone has to wear a suit and tie when you come there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. All officers, myself included, have to wear tuxedos. So it's not exactly normal. I can't imagine trying to tell a regular, like, college frat bro that they have to show up to meetings in a tuxedo.
I don't think they know how to put a tuxedo on.
Yeah, I had to buy a tuxedo for that this year. I don't. How many guys own a tuxedo?
Do you think it would be acceptable if you rented one to go to the lodge?
Oh yeah, but I'd have to rent one every month. It's just not the
That's
economics of that don't make a whole heck of a lot of sense.
That is a good point.
Oh, I was just gonna say I watched your episode on Freemasonry. I listened to it from last time, and I know that there's a bunch of questions that you have. I wrote down a bunch of notes here on certain things that were asked last time, like differences between different lodges and like certain lodges in certain regions. Like if you I believe the Grand Lodge of Hawaii doesn't make people wear tuxedos because it's so dang hot there. Why would you possibly have people wearing tuxedos? It would be very stupid if you're in Hawaii. So in terms of differences between lodges, it's more like there's differences for like reasons like that. There's some historical differences. There's some really not great stuff that has happened within certain lodges and jurisdictions.
Right.
So I'll get not to get on too much of a tangent, but again, America was not always as kind towards certain groups of people throughout history, and so there was essentially when we were in the 1700s and early American days, Masonic lodges, a lot of them didn't allow black people to be part of the lodges at the time because of course they didn't. It was the 1700s, and to this day, in certain regions, when you get to the Deep South, there are lodges there. I don't know which Grand Lodges do and don't allow, but there are certain lodges that are still very hush-hush about certain members not being allowed into lodges when you get into the Deep South.
Wow.
And so there's a reason why certain lodges are, I know you talked before about certain lodges being seen as kind of legit lodges by different jurisdictions. So under my jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts, we see all of those lodges as being legit for the most part when it comes to ones that are including black people. There's a certain subsection of lodges that are called Prince Hall lodges, which are basically only for black people. There was a guy named Prince Hall during the colonies that kind of did his own thing because he kind of got kicked out of a Freemasonry lodge. So he did his own thing, and their ritual looks a little bit different because of the fact that there's a couple hundred years of different history. But we see all of those lodges as being legitimate, Masonic organizations. There are other jurisdictions in the South, deep, deep South, that don't agree with that. And it sucks, but part of what makes having different jurisdictions good is that we can make our own decisions when it comes to that within the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts and down to where my lodge is.
Absolutely. I think that's an interesting thing to point out, especially because you're right. It gives you guys a little bit more freedom. It's interesting how the history of the different lodges, as you said, having in some cases hundreds of years of difference between periods of creation and founding, how that would all come into play when looking at the Grand Lodge itself and like kind of who's running it, how all of that history is going to interconnect. That's something that I never really considered. So that's an interesting point.
Yeah, I just wrote that down because I knew that you had questions about differences between different lodges. Like, are there... I know one of the other things you asked last time, are there lodges that allow women? The answer is yes. There are Masonic lodges that allow women. There are different subgroups, essentially, of Masonry. We're going to get into one very famous subgroup later called the Illuminati. And as far as what's going on there. But there are...
What's that?
What's that? I've never heard of that before. But there are Masonic subgroups that are only women. There are that don't allow any men. There are Masonic subgroups that are women and men. There's a bunch of different names. I wrote down the names of some of them here, but famous ones like the Order of the Eastern Star is one that allows both. And there's a famous guy, his name is Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, that joined Freemasonry because of the fact that the girl that he was dating at the time was a member of the Order of the Eastern Star. He joined Freemasonry, didn't like it at all, but did it because of the fact that she was in the Order of the Eastern Star.
That is the most incredible
basically,
thing I've ever heard.
That's funny.
Yeah, so he joined so that they could try to have some sort of bonding, and then when apparently after they broke up or something like that, he never has done anything with Freemasonry again because he didn't care about it and didn't think that it meshed with his, and I quote, nerd lifestyle or something like that is what he said. Steve Wozniak's a really weird guy. I could talk about him for an hour. He's a very odd dude.
That sounds incredible.
But certain lodges like those, like certain different Masonic organizations and lodges that do allow women, would not be seen as legit by my jurisdiction of the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts. So
that was my next question.
Why?
Yeah, most lodges, I think Order of the Eastern Star is different because they're a little bit of they might be seen as legit because they're like a Masonic subgroup.
Right.
And they're not doing the same Masonic ritual, but certain Masonic ritual organizations that do allow women would not be seen as legit. There's like a gazillion of these different sub-organizations. We could spend 3 hours going through them. But if you seriously...
Is there a reason why some of them are not considered legit? Is it just because we all have penises? Like, is it just tradition? Like, why?
I don't know,
If you know.
As far as who's making the decisions there, but there are, as you had mentioned before in the last podcast on this, there are a number of requirements to join Freemasonry, right? What we say is you have to be a man
penis.
Of lawful age, so you have to be over the age of 18. It was lowered from 21 a number of years ago. You have to have a good standing in the community. We do a background check on every person that comes in. And there's a Masonic background community that goes through. And if we do find things, it's not just like, oh my gosh, you've been arrested once, you're not joining. No, we go through and we talk to them and try to make sure that they're a good person.
Right.
And they have to be vouched for by someone that's already in Freemasonry. So if you don't know anyone, you can always say, hey, come down to a lodge, meet with them, and you can find a person to vouch for you.
Okay.
But-
So you can put in a good word for us.
I mean,
Yes.
Absolutely, but it's not going to do anything within... It's not going to do anything within my lodge. But because of the
Damn
fact
it.
that Masonry is so rooted... I think one of you mentioned it. I think it might have been you, James. But Masonry is so rooted in tradition. And it's both part of what makes Masonry super cool, and it's also what makes me not love everything about Freemasonry
Right.
when it comes to certain things in terms of like not admitting women and stuff like that. I think it'll probably happen in the next 100 years. Like we're headed to
Sick.
we're in the 21st century now, right?
So I can hold out hope, is what you're saying.
You can hold out hope that an 80-year-old Kate might be able to join. Regular
You don't think I'll do
Freemasonry.
it? I will do it. I will
there's been
stay
some-
alive just to join
There's
Freemasonry.
You're gonna stay alive to 80 to do it. Great.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a couple instances of women in history that were specially permitted to join Freemasonry, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I could go into some of those. Oh, I know another question you had was, what's the gist as far as trans people go, non-binary people?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's another one of those things where it's going to depend on the jurisdiction that you're under. So the Grand Lodge of England or the Grand Lodge of Sweden might have different rules to my jurisdiction.
Right.
But in where I am, in the state of Massachusetts, if you represent as a man and you identify as a man, you are allowed in Freemasonry. It doesn't matter whether you were born as a man or transitioned to being a man, you're allowed as a Freemason.
Okay.
Now, if you are born as a
Slay.
man and you are admitted into Freemasonry and you transition to being a woman, they do not kick you out afterwards if you were
Okay.
already in Freemasonry.
Ah.
Interesting.
So that's the other way that you could be a woman in Freemasonry. Just, identify as a man for a period
Don't
of
know if
time,
that's
join
helpful.
Freemasonry, and then transition to being a woman.
I'm weighing my options here.
Really committed to the bit.
Well, I remember
Yeah.
when we were doing the research for our initial episode, which feels like forever ago now. I remember reading a story about, I don't remember what jurisdiction it would have been under, but I remember reading about a woman that they thought had snuck into one of the lodges as a man, and they could never prove it, and they only had record of them at, I think it was 2 or 3 different meetings, and then someone got suspicious that it was actually a woman, and they never came back. So it's interesting to think what could have happened there. Did someone try to infiltrate? Was it just someone who realized they weren't actually interested? Was it just like a feminine man? Was it actually a woman trying to sneak in? I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of instances of things like that happening. Not in the modern day, but reading different Wikipedia pages on histories of. I read a page a couple years ago because I was curious on the history of women in Freemasonry, and there was definitely a couple of instances of things like that happening. There apparently was a woman that knew so many secrets and did so much stuff for the lodge in 1700s or 1800s that they just admitted her anyways after she was sneaking into meetings or something like that. There's been a couple instances of weird stuff like that happening. I don't know the specifics, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I only vaguely remember it, but I remember thinking how interesting it would be to try to sneak in. And now that I know that there's a guy at the door with a sword, take some balls to try and sneak in.
I mean, I don't think that the sword is exactly sharp. I think it's pretty darn blunt. It's Freemasonry is a lot about symbolism, and
That is
we
fair.
can go into that in a little bit as far as some of the symbols that you might have seen, and I can try to talk about some of it a little bit.
I had questions about symbols.
Yeah, we use symbols within Freemasonry as a teaching tool, essentially. Everything, when you see Masonic symbols, they always mean something about, the way that you should live your life to Freemasons, but then they also double, usually as something that was a tool for operative Masonry, as we call it. So, And you can watch the last episode. I wanted to say, by the way, Kate and James, you did a great job covering, like, the history, a little bit of the history of Freemasonry, talking about different, members of the lodge, what a structure of a lodge looks like. Seriously, go watch your last episode. You did a really great job. You definitely did some good research on it. I think.
Thank you very much.
We were
We were
nervous.
very nervous.
Yeah,
We were like, we're gonna get sued by the Freemasons.
it's what you said is more correct than it is incorrect.
Perfect.
There's
Okay.
a couple of things where, and again, maybe it's my lodge in my, being in my lodge that it's done differently than whoever wrote that from Arkansas or something. I
Right.
don't know. But yeah, there's a bunch of different symbols. You might have seen some of them on the dollar bill. We can go over those, but I don't know. Do you want to do some symbols? Is there any other questions that you have?
Yes, I love symbols.
Okay.
I think Jamie wants to do symbols.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, let's do some symbols. I wrote down a list here.
Perfect.
So if you look at the U.S. $1 bill, the one that's got Mr. George Washington on the front of it,
Okay.
on the front right of the bill, and you can look it up if you need a refresher. I know being up in
We'll post a
Canada that you
picture on
don't necessarily
Instagram.
just have a $1 bill in front of you.
I have Googled it. I've got it pulled up in front of me.
Yeah, we have a loony.
on the front of that bill, to the right of George Washington, there's a symbol or there's some scales over there, like for weighing things. Underneath that, there right underneath the scales, as a part of the same emblem, there's an icon that almost looks like a part of a triangle or something like that. It's the square. So that's one of the most it's one of the most important symbols to Freemasonry is the square and the compass. And there's a lot of meaning that I don't know if I should get into those, but those are definitely. I know you mentioned the last time, like, are the symbols on the dollar bills Freemasonry symbols? Yes, they are.
Okay.
There's
Can
absolutely.
you get into it? Are you allowed?
I don't know. So it's funny. I was at my lodge earlier today, and I asked the master of the current master of my lodge, like, symbols. Can I say can you not? And he said some of them yes, other ones no. It's very weird. Some of them yes, other ones no. And it's weird because the ones that have a more detailed explanation are the ones that I'm allowed to say. The ones that mean less are the ones that I don't know how to say. It's weird. Again, with Freemasonry, all this text is like 400 years old and hasn't been changed in 400 years.
Right.
So I mentioned that tradition with Freemasonry is cool and it's also bad. The cool thing is everything that we do in a lodge in terms of like the rituals of the different degrees, which that's the stuff that I can't get into.
Right.
But it's the same stuff that happened to George Washington 400 years ago. Like, we haven't
That's
changed
cool.
it. And that's part of what makes it cool. But also what doesn't make it cool is that, again, because of the fact that it's so traditional, we can't admit women into there. But there's also some reasons why. There's some things that are done during the initiations that I would not be comfortable doing to a woman, and I am perfectly comfortable doing that to a man.
Interesting.
You can fill in the blanks there, but there's one specific there's a specific part of the body that's fine to touch on a man and not fine to touch on a woman.
Huh.
I'm filling in the blanks.
And you can fill in the blanks there. I can't say anything else. I might have. That's the sort of stuff that I can't say, but there's some reasons for it. You'd have to change some things. I don't think it's the end of the world, but we're all about trying to keep everything exactly the same that it was always written, and there's a lot of tradition that goes into that.
Right.
But anyhow, the square and the compass on the bill, it's been a Masonic symbol for a long time. That's absolutely a thing. If you want to see a whole bunch, seriously, most of this is on like freemason.com, freemason.org. You can look up square and compasses and get an entire explanation on there because it's the 21st century. But again, a lot of times you'll see that Freemasonry symbol that has the square and compasses and it has the G in the middle of it. A lot of people will ask what the G stands for. There's a couple different meanings, some of which I can't say, some of which I can, but it usually stands for geometry. And it means like the way that Masonic things go together. I believe I can say that. I found that on a Wikipedia page earlier.
Okay, so if you get in trouble, it's not your fault. It's Wikipedia's fault.
Yeah, just blame Wikipedia. It's the 21st century here.
Of course it's Wikipedia.
Now, if we flip the dollar bill to the back of it, this is where some of the more interesting stuff comes. Also, George Washington's on it. He's also a Freemason, right?
Yes.
So there's some...
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other... Like, I found some document that came from a website that looked like it was made in 2000. I thought my computer was, like, transported back to when I was a kid. But when I was looking at this document, they pointed out, like, 15 different Masonic symbols on the $1 bill, which is bananas. But on the back of it, people always ask about the pyramid with the eye on the top of it. That's the one that always gets asked about.
Of course.
Yep, that's what I was going to ask about.
So that symbol, specifically the top of it, the eye is also a Masonic symbol. It's referred to as the all-seeing eye, and it predates Masonry. It's been around like 1,000 years, that symbol.
Oh.
As far as the meaning of that, as creepy as it is, I'll admit, it's freaking creepy looking at that dollar bill. Like, and we'll get into some of the Illuminati stuff. But supposedly, do you have any idea what the all-seeing eye would mean? Anyone want to take a guess?
Oh boy.
Something scary. I don't know.
Intriguing, James. Good job. Something scary.
Illuminati.
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like it would be something along the lines of there's always a higher power watching over you, so to like be conscious of what you're doing.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I think
Sick.
you basically hit the nail on the head. So
I'm telling
one
you,
of the things that you
I'm
discussed
supposed to be a
in the last
Freemason.
one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when the dollar bill was written, this was a really common symbol in society outside of the Masons.
Right.
But, there's certain things that go in and out of fashion over time. But yeah, the all-seeing eye, it's basically, representing the eye of some sort of god or higher power watching over. There's different things that means in terms of how to live your life and stuff like that too. But yeah, no, you nailed it. Again, a lot of it, I can tell you, the answer is not as interesting as the mystery is around. That's the disappointing thing. Like, I feel like I'm a magician and I'm showing you how to do the magic trick, and then it's not entertaining anymore.
Hey,
I still think it's cool.
Yeah, it relieves a lot of my my brain overthinking what these things could be.
That's the section that I wrote up there. Do you have any other questions on the history of Freemasonry or anything like that, or do you want to get into conspiracy stuff?
I have a question about another symbol. I don't know if it's real or correct. So I was reading something and it said that... Sorry, there's a cat on my lap, so if you hear meowing, it's just Pepper. I saw something that said that a lesser-known symbol for Masons was a beehive?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, beehive is one of the symbols. There's a lecture that is... I can't get into too much because it's the degree stuff that I'm not supposed to say. But there's a lecture basically at the end of Freemasonry that goes through all the different symbols and what they mean. And I believe that the beehive is one of the ones that I can say because it's not at the end. I'd have to go back into the meaning of it. But yeah, it's absolutely a Masonic symbol. I have a little coin that another Freemason gave me that has the beehive symbol on it. There's a lodge not too far from me that uses that as their symbol.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw a thing and it said that it's supposed to symbolize industriousness of the lodge.
Yep, that's it. Sorry, it slipped my brain. I don't have to memorize the whole thing. In terms of tradition, we memorize. So there are lectures that are done as a part of the initiation of candidates, right? And whoever the higher ranking officers are, memorize the whole thing. Some of them are 10 minutes long, word for word. Memorize the entire thing.
Ay.
That's crazy.
It comes from a time, and you asked about what some of the secrets are. There's a lot of times in history where Masons had to go underground because there were a lot of people that hated the Masons in the U.S., outside the U.S. I know you mentioned the Catholic Church in your last one.
Yes.
Opposed to Freemasonry. Early 1800s, the first ever third party in the U.S. So that the U.S., right, we have today our Republicans and Democrats, but then there's independents and other parties. The first ever third party in the U.S. was the anti-Masonic Party.
Oh my
I'm
god!
not making that up.
I did have notes about that as well. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I wanted to ask about the anti-Masonic Party.
Yeah, I did.
Is it still around? Why?
I don't think so. There's a lot of other defunct parties, but they were just people that thought that the Masons were pulling a lot of strings in the back, which I'm sure that they were. Because in the early days of the U.S., there were a lot of really stinking powerful Masons. Like, again, you went through some of them last time, but most of the founding fathers were all Freemasons. Most of the early presidents were all Freemasons.
Yeah,
So,
Roosevelt, Franklin.
Yep.
Churchill.
Some of the newer ones.
Mozart. Buzz Aldrin.
There's some more interesting modern day ones. Like, you guys know that Shaq is a Freemason?
What?
No.
Yep.
You're telling me that Shaq can be a Freemason, but I can't? Oh,
Absolutely.
livid.
There's some
That's
things
so
that are
funny.
done during the degrees that I can't tell you about. That will be the thought of them having to do it to Shaq is absolutely freaking hilarious to me. Like, I was talking to my dad about
I would
this
pay
earlier
to
today.
see that.
Because I was looking up a list of Freemasons. I got him here. Another weird one is Brad Paisley, the country singer, Freemason.
My God.
Phil Collins, the drummer,
No!
Freemason.
Oh my
What?
God.
Yep. The weirdest one on this list. So I don't know what kind of music both of you listen to, but I'm really into a
Yes.
metal band that's out of Europe called Ghost. They blew up on they blew up
I
on
know 'em.
TikTok last year because of the song "Mary on a Cross."
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
but-
Yeah, I like that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. Apparently, the lead singer of that, his name is Tobias Forge. That's what he goes by. That's not his real name. They're anonymous, all the members of the band, but he had to get outed because of a lawsuit that happened where they had to reveal his name in court. But apparently, according to the Grand Lodge of Sweden, because that's where they're from, he's a member of the Freemasonry, or he's a member of
Whoa.
the Grand. He's under their jurisdiction or something like that. And there
That's
are
insane.
lyrics of some of the Ghost songs. There's a song called Square Hammer. And again, the square is one of the symbols of Freemasonry. The lyrics of that song say, "Are you on the square?
Oh my God.
Are you on the level?" Are the lyrics to that chorus.
Oh
it's
my
it's
God.
wild.
Okay, follow-up question to
Which
that.
is
What? I'm still on the Shaq thing. I can't move past that. Do we know what rank Shaq is in Freemasonry?
so
Classified.
yeah, I probably should have gotten into this a little bit more. So regular Freemasonry, and you did mention it during the last time, there are lodges that are called your blue lodge, right? Or your blue
Right.
degrees. Those are kind of the main ranks of Freemasonry. There's three ranks, right? There's entered apprentice. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of the second rank? I'm going absolutely
I have
nuts.
it written down.
I was gonna say there's entered apprentice, there is the middle one, then there's Master
Fellowcraft?
Mason, Fellowcraft. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking. And then there's Master Mason, right?
Yeah.
Usually in the U.S. you go through all of those ranks in about a year. They
Okay.
don't take very long to go through. There's stuff that you have to memorize. There's like an obligation that you have to do for each of them. I can't get into what it is. Again, that's the stuff that I absolutely can't say in terms of the obligation. There's not even much interesting there. But
I would lose just because I can't memorize shit.
That's very
yeah,
true.
it's not fun. It's not fun. But essentially, Shaq went through all that back. I think it was right pre-pandemic or something like that.
Oh my God.
So he's a Master Mason, which is the highest rank in all of Freemasonry. Is Master
Oh
Mason? Is that third rank?
My God.
There are other So again, I'm a Master Mason. Most people become Master Masons in a year. My dad's a Master Mason. Most people do it in a year. Over in the UK, they take like a year per degree, I think, and it takes a little bit longer. But again, anytime that you hear of higher ranking groups of Masons, when you hear like a 32nd degree, 33rd degree Mason, those are different subgroups of Freemasonry. So kind of like how I
Okay.
said that the Illuminati were kind of a subgroup of Freemasonry, or the Order of the Eastern Star, there's different subgroups of Masonry that have higher ranks. And a lot of those subgroups are seen as legit.
Right.
The ones that go to like 32 degrees, there's a bunch of these subgroups. I could spend a whole bunch of time getting into them. But Shaq is, again, the thing about Freemasonry is everyone is equal, or as we would like to say it, on the level. And that's where I
Right.
said that lyric from that Ghost song comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So Shaq is on the same level as me. He's on the same level as the worshipful master of my lodge, which is the highest person of my lodge in terms of running things in the lodge. And he's on the same rank as the most worshipful, who would be the person that's running the Grand Lodge of my jurisdiction. Outside of the lodge, everyone is seen as exactly the same. In the lodge room, there's different roles in terms of what you do and in terms of what people do, but on the street, it doesn't matter who you are, what place you come from in society, we're all seen as exactly the same.
That is insane.
That's one of the founding ideas.
I stand by those ideas. I think that's a good way of doing it, especially when you're so focused on the fraternal aspect of it and really respecting one another. I think that's great. But then when I throw Shaq into that equation, that really throws me off. I'm like losing my mind.
The biggest thing that I would say, so when George Washington did his degrees in Freemasonry, the master of his lodge at that point. So again, George Washington was just entering into Freemasonry. The worshipful master of his lodge. So again, the guy that was inducting him into Freemasonry was his gardener.
Oh my God.
So again,
That's
it doesn't
insane.
matter what your role is outside of it. In Freemasonry, everyone is considered the same. Again, there are people that I know that have millions of dollars that are at the top of, my lodge. But then I graduated high school with the guy that's the worshipful master. I'm 25. He graduated like 2 years above me. He's like 27.
Oh my
He's
God.
my current worshipful master. So again, it doesn't matter. And there's people that are under me that are like 70. It does not matter who you are, what background you come from. And you'll see a lot of times if you look at pictures of Masons, them wearing white gloves. The white gloves are to symbolize whether you were a working man or not back in the day, so that they couldn't tell whether your hands were dirty, or whether they were clean.
Oh. Interesting.
So
Can you put Freemasonry on your resume?
I do. I don't know whether that helps me or whether it hurts me. I have no clue. Yeah, but I do. It's there.
That's awesome.
So I know
it's there.
You mentioned while you were talking that your dad is also in Freemasonry. So is that sort of how you got into it? Is that what got you interested in joining? How did it come into your life?
Yep. So basically, I live down the street from where my lodge is.
Okay.
And I have been going to my lodge since I was like 15 for public breakfast. We put on a community breakfast every month where anyone in the community, men, women, young, old, doesn't matter who you are, can come there, eat breakfast, and it's like $8. It used to be $8, now it's $10. All of the food that we do is all donated by members of the lodge, and then we take all that money and we donate it and put it right back out into charity. So it goes to a lot of local food pantries. It goes to a bunch of other funds, helps to fund scholarships for kids that are going into...
That answered a question I didn't even ask yet. I wanted to ask you about the philanthropy part of this. Never mind. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically,
awesome.
I've been going to these breakfasts because we make pretty good food. The guy that runs it was a chef of a nice restaurant. We make pretty darn good food. I've been
Not
going to them
brag
since I was
or
like 16. So my dad and I both joined pretty much at the same time.
Oh.
Because we were both like, hey, this is pretty cool. And we were kind of looking for stuff to do post-pandemic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain times where I can tell you there's a lot of times when you can see multiple generations of people that are in Freemasonry. There's a special jewel that you get when your parent was in it.
Okay.
And you get more of them the more generations above. And sometimes we'll go into a lodge, there'll be someone that has like 8 of them. And it's oh my god.
You guys are really dedicated to this. No, that's really cool.
Very dedicated. And in terms of being a member, once you go through those degrees, there's some slight dues that you pay every year. It's not a whole ton. It just helps to maintain the lodge, and most of the money will go right back into charity and stuff like that if there's extra. But so long as you pay that, it never matters whether you show up to a meeting or not. You can never do anything Freemasonry related for the rest of your life. So long as you pay your dues, you're considered an equal to anyone else that's in that lodge. And if you go back, you're welcomed with open arms in there. And that's the way that a lodge should be. I'm not going to say that every lodge acts this way. There's probably some real crappy lodges out there.
So it feels like a stupid question.
Sorry.
Oh, that's
You
okay.
go, Kate.
It feels like kind of a stupid question because you must be able to. But are you able to sort of, I guess, leave Freemasonry once you've gone through? Because I feel like
absolutely.
once that information is given to you and in your brain, like I don't know how that leaving process would be.
Yeah, well, you see, Kate, what we do is we take a drill and we insert it into people's heads to take the...
Okay, that's what I thought.
No, yeah, you can absolutely believe it. It's not like some cult or something like that where it's like, oh my gosh, we're gonna shame you and you're not allowed to associate with people outside of the craft or something.
Right.
No.
Okay.
You can leave.
Okay.
So long, if you don't pay your dues, then we're gonna like give you a buzz basically, and if that doesn't happen, we're gonna immediately dismiss you. If you want to leave for some reason, yeah, there's ways of doing that. It's
Okay.
Again, we can't remove
What is
that
stopping
info.
people from what's stopping people from telling all their secrets after they've like quit?
Well, there are going to be bad people that are telling some of those secrets. Again, there's books that are published that are just full of Masonic secrets. Everything that I know you can find in a book or on the internet somewhere. If you go deep enough, you can find every Masonic secret if you want to.
It's good to know.
I don't recommend
Just
it
a matter
if you're a
of
person that's
fact-checking.
going to join Freemasonry, because it's like spoiling the end of the movie before you've watched it. Because the initiation is like the coolest part of Freemasonry in terms of like history, in terms of it's like you get to be the main character of a play where everyone else has made this play for you when you join. And if that's something that you want to spoil for yourself before you've gone through the once-in-a-lifetime ability of starring in a play you didn't know you were starring in, like, then I guess spoil it for yourself. But if you ever want, I don't care whether anyone looks it up. You can go for it. There's Wikipedia pages that will document every secret of Freemasonry. It's literally on the internet. But if you're ever going to join Freemasonry,
And we'll
then
put the
don't.
link in the description.
You are more than welcome to if you would like. I can't stop you.
I won't.
Anyhow, any other questions?
I don't think
I
so.
probably have more.
I think I'm... If Jamie doesn't have
Okay.
any more right... Oh, Jamie, do you have one right now? Did it pop in your brain?
Jamie has a
Yeah,
question.
go for it.
Okay, what do we got?
Okay, so the Vatican at one point called the Masons the synagogue of Satan. Why? What's the discourse? Why do they hate you guys so much?
Yeah, you see, it's because of the goat sacrifice. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Right.
The Catholics are
No,
pretty
we make
into
all
that
sorts of-
sometimes.
I know. There's different periods of time where every organization, again, I said that the U.S. government couldn't stand Masons at certain times. There's times when the Masons were also persecuted by the Nazis in World War II. They were one of the groups that Hitler didn't like. That's a little known fact. Now, granted, wasn't nearly as bad for the Masons as it was for other groups that were there. It wasn't as bad as if you were Jewish or gay or something like that. But if you're like the Catholic Church and you're looking to control over people's life, essentially. Again, I have nothing against the Catholic Church. That's its own separate can of worms. If you're Catholic, that's great. I'm not a highly religious person. But if you're a person that is Catholic, all power to you. But especially throughout history, and I think the most recent Pope just recently condemned Freemasonry again.
Of
But
course.
essentially,
I was gonna say, is the feud still happening?
yeah,
But
it
I
goes
guess
off
so.
and on over time. Yeah, there is a feud. I think that the most recent Pope just re-condemned Freemasonry, which is nuts. We're on great relations with a lot of other groups. Like there's a Catholic group that's really famous, the Knights of Columbus. We're on really good terms with the most local chapters of the Knights of Columbus, and we put on a dinner between the two groups once a year. At lunch. We call it Mason Night Night.
Oh my
and
god!
I think it's kind of funny.
I love that.
But yeah,
so
no, we
much.
put it on once a year. But yeah, the Catholic Church, I'm sure that there's reasons behind it, but I look at it, if you're an organization that's looking to tell people how to live their life, and then you have an organization that has a different way of telling people how to live their life.
Right.
Those are going to be at odds. We as Freemasons have nothing against Catholics. It entirely comes from that way down. Again, as a part of Masonry, you can believe in whatever religious scripture you want to. It doesn't matter. And when you're doing your initiations and things like that, we have Bibles in the lodge that you'll swear in on. If you believe in another sacred text, we will swap that out. If you go to a lodge in like India, there will be like 8 separate religious texts, because again, there's so many different scriptures that people believe in over there.
Right.
And so
What if you're an atheist and you believe in nothing?
then you cannot join Freemasonry. So again,
Interesting.
one of the
Okay.
tenets of being a Freemason is having some sort of a belief in a higher power. Doesn't
Right.
matter whether it's the flying spaghetti monster or whether it's Catholicism. You have
That's
to
my
have
God.
some sort of belief. And again, it's one of those things where it comes from Masonry just having super traditionalist roots from 400 years ago. It's something that I can see getting changed at some point. But again, we don't want to change the scripture. It's been written that way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of mentality. And if you go to early America, people were crazy effing religious here, man. Like, that's the reason why everyone came here, is because we were too religious for the people in Europe.
Yeah.
So once you have Freemasonry here, it was also just a decent way of vetting people in an era before the internet.
Right.
I'm sure that they thought it was a decent way of vetting people. Not that that means anything nowadays, but if you were some real troublemaker, man, you couldn't be if you were a man of God, probably. I don't know.
Probably. No, that's
Yeah,
something that I
that's-
never would have.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
All right, hit me.
Is it true that you guys have secret handshakes?
Absolutely.
If so, why?
Absolutely. So there's the other things that I can't tell you are secret handshakes, like signs, different things like that. There's, ways that we could act that would secretly let another Mason know that we're in distress and things like that. There are handshakes, and they're used primarily if you are going to back in the day, if you were going to another lodge that's not your own, and they wanted to make sure that you were a Mason before you got in. It was in an era before, pre-internet, where I can't just send an email to the person that's a part of the other lodge and say, hey, I'm coming to meeting at a lodge that I'm not a part of. You needed some way to be able to communicate that. And occasionally that sort of stuff is still used. Certain times you'll see when Masons shake each other's hands, they'll actually cover it up with the other hand in order to conceal the secret handshakes, essentially.
Oh.
But yeah, they exist.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll cover it up or stand in a way that you can't see what's going on there. But yeah, no, absolutely, they exist. I know them. They exist, and that they're not all that interesting.
That was my question. Are they
it's-
complicated handshakes?
Yeah, have you ever been two girls in the playground where you're playing, playground handshake games? It's exactly the same.
I knew it.
No.
You flip your hair and snap your fingers and wink
Absolutely.
at each other.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, you need to
Yes.
to strut down the runway at the same time,
I love it.
I'm basically in it.
Yeah, you basically need to act like you're on RuPaul's Drag Race, and then they know you're a
Incredible.
Freemason.
Yes!
Do we think RuPaul is a Freemason?
I'm sashaying away.
Yeah, you have to sashay away, exactly.
Do we think RuPaul is a Freemason?
But yeah, it's
RuPaul, definitely.
oh my gosh.
If
RuPaul's
Shaq can do it.
Hey, anyone could do it, so long as you have a belief in God. I don't know what, or in some sort of higher power. I don't know what RuPaul's opinions on religion are. I don't care.
That is fair.
So yeah, I mean that's a little background on Freemasonry. I think I answered the questions, and if any people in your chat have questions about Freemasonry, you can always get at me. I'm on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/thisisvisser. You can always ask me. I have a link to my Discord in there. That's probably the easiest way to get over to it. If you have questions, fire them away at me. Do you want to get into conspiracies?
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah, I think it's super fun. I would always joke every time that I was going through the initiations that this is the part where, the goat sacrifice happens. And we all just laugh about it. Like, we always crack jokes and, about, like, the Da Vinci Code and about
Oh my god.
National Treasure and stuff like that. Like, it is constant jokes within the lodge about that.
I love that.
But yeah, so what do you know about the Illuminati? Because I'm going to be honest, before I did my research, I couldn't have told you a whole heck of a lot.
You know what? Speaking personally, I think Jamie knows far more about it than I do. But I think I'm the same. I know just the stereotypical, like, they are usually people in high-ranking areas. Like, they have a lot of power. They do a lot of secret things. but that's essentially the only concept that I have.
Got it. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I knew less
so
than you when I started, just to let you know. I think the only thing I knew was Illuminati confirmed memes from back in like 2012, and I think that was all I knew.
That's fair.
From a more crazy conspiracy side, I've heard it's the rich and famous, powerful people. They're trying to take over the world. They're running the governments. It's famous people. It's politicians. Essentially, you have no choice. You're surrounded by them. They're trying to control your minds. And there are reptilian people in there. There's aliens in there. But I don't necessarily believe all that. But I do think that the Illuminati is real.
All right, well, I am here to tell you, James, Kate, I'm here to tell you that the Illuminati are real, but they're not what you think they are. And there's some modern groups that are masquerading as the Illuminati, but I should say the Illuminati were real. So I'm similar to you, Kate. I'm a history buff. I love looking at all sorts of historical stuff. So the Illuminati were a group from the late 1700s, founded by this guy named Adam Weishaupt. I'm gonna probably butcher his name. He was over in Eastern Europe, someplace. I had it written down here. I had it written down where they were from, and I'm a dingus when it comes to this. But essentially, I believe he was from Bavaria. But anyhow, they were a group that was inspired by Freemasonry. I believe Adam Weishaupt joined Freemasonry, but he didn't agree with a lot of things that Masonry was doing.
Okay.
So he was a very progressive guy. So that's the era of Enlightenment when you get to the late 1700s, right? So you have a lot of, modern or more modern ideals that are coming in. And the name Illuminati literally comes from like light, right? Like to illuminate, which is something that I didn't know. But that's how you get like enlightenment, right? Light with illuminate. Right. Illuminati kind of makes sense. So similar to how Masonry has the 3 degrees where you have entered apprentice, fellowcraft, master mason, the Illuminati, because again, he set it up kind of like Freemasonry, had 3 degrees. There was a novice, there was a Minerval, and an illuminated Minerval.
Oh my God.
Which, don't ask me what the hell any of that means. But they would specifically go around in the late 1700s poaching members from Freemasonry to join the Illuminati. And they created this network of powerful people within the society, within, royalty members, within artists, philosophers, that all believed in, like, progressive Enlightenment ideals. Then what happens is, I guess I should say before that, so we're looking at late 1700s, they had about 1,000 members.
Oh.
Not huge numbers, right? Like,
you
think Illuminati confirmed, Kate, how many do you think? Millions,
But I mean, for that time period, that's an impressive group to get together when you're thinking there's not like direct communication that can happen at all times. Like that's a pretty decent number.
Right. No, I would agree. So it's debated. I guess there's like 600 confirmed Illuminati members. Adam Weishaupt said that there was like 2,500. I shot for 1,000, somewhere in the middle. Then what happens is shortly thereafter, they exist for like 10 years or something like that, 20 years. Okay. And Bavaria banned all secret societies, including the Illuminati. So they forced them to disband, basically. So where all these conspiracy theories come from is the idea that the Illuminati still exist and that they never went away. So we know that there was an Illuminati late 1700s, like for sure. They were legit. They included a bunch of people. Bavaria bans them, and then you get this idea that the Illuminati still exists.
Right.
I believe that, though. It could still exist.
The most Jamie response to anything I've ever heard. No, I believe it. I still think.
I hear your facts, but I feel...
No, that makes sense.
So it's kind of interesting.
Devil's advocate.
Sure, that's what that is. You got it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, this is like the grandmother of all conspiracy theories. Not even the mother. It's like the grandmother, right? Like conspiracy theories from the 1700s. I mean, come on.
It's the best kind.
So shortly after, next like 20 years, there's books from like the early 1800s that claimed that the Illuminati was still alive, and they blamed the whole French Revolution as being caused by the Illuminati secretly. So we're talking like 1800s
Incredible.
conspiracy theories here.
This is amazing.
Yep. Then those books come to the U.S. and they start writing like a bunch of like newspaper bullshit, basically, in the 1800s, all about, you know, the Illuminati still existing. Mm-hmm. It kind of dies down a bit, and then the Illuminati props back up. So in the 50s, the Illuminatis were the Illuminati was communist because of effing course they were, right?
Mm-hmm. What else could they possibly be?
It's the 1950s. It's the Red Scare. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Once you get to the 80s, the Illuminati, no, they're devil worshippers, right? Dungeons and Dragon players, heavy metal bands, Illuminati, right?
Of course.
They morph into this, like, whatever society wants to claim as, like, the issue. Yeah, that's the freaking Illuminati, basically.
Huh.
So I don't know. What do you guys think of who's the Illuminati to you?
Well, Jamie thinks they're lizard people running the government.
Overlords.
Yeah, there we go.
You took the words out of my mouth.
So it's funny. Where a lot of that stuff comes from, Jamie, that I found that's super funny. In the 70s, there's this trilogy of books that get written called Illuminatus. And they're written by these two guys, one of whom was the editor of Playboy magazine, by the way, if you want to know the credentials of this stuff. And basically, they just take a whole bunch of conspiracies and they blend them all together into this, like, satirical book series, right? You know, claiming that all this stuff exists. So, like, in there, they claim that this member of the Illuminati, the guy that founded it there, Adam Weishaupt, that he actually killed George Washington and impersonated him for the rest of his life.
Oh my god. Of course.
And that when you look at that dollar bill, if you still have it up, that's actually Adam Weishaupt on the dollar bill, because it doesn't look enough like George Washington's early
oh my god.
It's all making sense.
Oh no.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I was reading this. I was cracking up laughing when I was reading this earlier today. I didn't know this before I did some research. Then what these two guys do is they really just like effing with people, right? So they start writing a ton of letters to the press talking about the Illuminati in order to just propagate this. So they write it out to like all sorts of different news organizations. And then, remember, I said that he's the editor of Playboy? They start writing pieces in Playboy talking about the Illuminati.
Oh my god.
Because
they make fake letters from fans writing in, like saying, nah, man, I don't think the Illuminati exists. And then other fake letters that are like, dude, they're totally legit. Or I think some part of them is legit. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's legit or fake. They just want people to start talking about the Illuminati to sell their books, basically.
That's insane.
this was just some big social experiment or prank. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's just like some massive prank to these two guys. Editor of Playboy and his best friend.
What a power move.
That might have been the most crazy thing that I found today when I was digging through.
That's insane. I never would have imagined any of that. That's wild.
Yep, me neither. Like I said, I knew about as much as you did before. I spent the afternoon digging through, and that was the most interesting stuff that I found.
That's crazy. Well, now I feel like we fueled
So what do you think?
A little bit.
Jamie, are the
Jamie.
Illuminati real?
Oh. Well,
Oh my god.
I think mine sounds cooler, but yours is more realistic, so I will have to concede and say that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays people claim that it's all like the celebrities and stuff. Like there's the Rihanna music video Umbrella apparently has a bunch of triangles in it, and they claim that it's the Illuminati triangle. But
oh yeah, the triangle.
Right, from the back of the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye. So that was, I think, to some degree, the actual symbol that they were using, because again, it was a Masonic symbol, so I think it was adopted by, don't quote me on this, but I think it was adopted by Adam Weishaupt for that late 1700s Illuminati. I think that was legit,
Right.
Illuminati symbol that, again, they derived from Freemasonry, which is derived from, 500,000 years before.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
But yeah, Illuminati confirmed? I don't know. Did we
Illuminati
confirm it?
confirmed.
I know for a
We
fact.
confirmed something.
I can tell you for a fact that Jamie's going to call me later tonight and go, I can't stop thinking about this, but I think I figured it out. and I'm gonna get a whole conspiracy theory from her.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hang up.
I definitely think that that Rihanna, Jay-Z, like all these people, I think that they just put that in there to mess with people. Like if I become big, right, I'm just dropping like Illuminati subliminal messaging in my music videos just for fun.
100%.
Isn't that what Doja Cat does?
Probably. She terrifies
I don't know.
me.
Is Doja Cat Illuminati? Can she be? Were women allowed to be Illuminati?
I just know
That's a
that
good
she
question.
like plays into it because people were saying that she was part of it. So then she had like, I think it was like an Illuminati themed birthday party, and then everyone freaked out about that. So then she like shaved her head, and then she started posting TikToks about the Illuminati, and she was like teasing people. But then they were like, but she's teasing us so that we don't think it's true when it actually is true. So it's reverse psychology. She is the Illuminati.
Oh.
So I don't know.
I think you've nailed it, Jane. I think you've nailed it.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, Jamie, you're saying that like you didn't call me telling me I think she's in the Illuminati.
I'm writing it down. I got one of those boards like you see in every like, every detective movie. I got a bunch of pins in my wall. Pictures of Doja Cat, pictures of, George Washington, pictures of dollar bills. We figured it out, everyone.
Absolutely.
Put Shaq on there.
Yeah, Shaq. He's part of it too. That's the reason why he joined.
I remember seeing...
Yeah, no, we'll put the band Ghost on there.
Oh, 100%.
Mariana Cross, all about Illuminati. You know what crosses are? They're a shape. You know what's also a shape? Triangles. We got them.
Guys, I think people are going to come after us for this. I think we know too much.
And you were concerned about what I was going to say about the Masons earlier.
I know. Now we've broken it even further. What are we going to do? I remember reading a bunch of conspiracy theories about Avril Lavigne being replaced by the Illuminati.
What?
Yeah.
So they straight up George Washington replaced
Exactly.
with Avril Lavigne?
They said that she died a bunch of years ago and that she had a replacement.
That seems like it's derivative. Like, I don't know how much you know your historical music stuff, but that's what they claimed about Paul McCartney in the
I was gonna
late
say,
60s. That
yeah.
And Michael
It was
Jackson.
called Paul is Dead. I feel like
Yeah.
Paul is Dead was the original music one, though, right?
100%. Clearly, all of the album covers are indicative that Paul McCartney was replaced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kate, didn't we talk about this on the last episode we recorded about the internet?
We might have. I know you and I have definitely talked about it.
It might have just been a late night conversation.
Because, yeah, everyone...
If you ever want another tangent to go down, there's this band that people thought was the Beatles. I don't know if you ever know about this story. It's a really crazy story. Maybe it's a topic for another podcast. But there's this band called Klaatu, Klaatu. They were an anonymous band from the early 70s that there was this whole conspiracy that people thought that they were actually the Beatles.
I'm writing
And that
this
the
down.
Beatles didn't disband.
Oh.
I'm writing this down immediately.
I literally am typing it and writing it down too.
It's super cool. Their music's pretty good.
Well, if they're
but
the
we
Beatles,
can talk
of
about
course.
that some other time. Yeah, they are the Beatles, who are also all Illuminati members.
Oh my god.
I mean, if Phil Collins is an Illuminati member,
Exactly,
then,
you would think.
John Lennon, that's what happened to him.
Oh.
Anyhow, any other questions on the Illuminati?
I don't think I have any on the Illuminati.
I can I circle back to Freemasonry? I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I forgot to ask this. We did an episode on the Denver International Airport.
Oh
Yep.
my god. I forgot.
I
Is
was
it
almost going to
true?
watch that one because I knew that you were going to have freaking questions about the Denver International Airport.
Did y'all help build it? Like, why is there a plaque? Is it yours? What happened?
So
Yours.
I gotta go down the whole conspiracies about the Denver International Airport again, but I know that there's definitely Masonic symbols there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're... See, the thing about Masons is they just love putting around, like, on the dollar bill, in paintings, they just love, like, planting these hidden symbols. Like, it's like you've been to Disney and you see all the hidden Mickeys around where someone's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we made this fucking tree look like a Mickey Mouse symbol? Masons do the same crap all over the place. They love it.
That's the best analogy I've ever heard.
You guys are like gaslighting us. Does this mean something? I don't know. Does it? Our symbol is here.
It means something to Masons, right? Like, there's this idea. It's like, oh boy, we made this painting, and the number of steps say that it means something. And seriously, it does. I can't get into like meanings and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, the amount of this stuff, the amount of pillars on this building. Does that mean something? When you look at a lodge, everything within the lodge room is set up in a specific way, and I can talk about some of that stuff to you. So part of the reason why Freemasonry also has like that you need to believe in a higher power is because a lot of the teachings of Freemasonry are based off of the Bible in some way, and there's a lot of references in Freemasonry text to old biblical text, mainly Old Testament stuff. So the setup of a lodge is based on that of the first Jewish temple. And so supposedly in the first Jewish temple, the sun rised on one side, the sun set on the other side of the temple, so the lodge is set up in the same way. There were people seated on certain sides of the lodge to try to mirror the way that people sat on the beginning of the first Jewish temple. Like, everything is planned out in terms of the way that Mason goes. The amount of steps that are in a Masonic lodge, there's 3 steps. In the, like, the Grand Master sits, or the Worshipful Master of the lodge sits 3 steps above. I can't tell you what that means, but there's 3 degrees in Freemasonry. Wink, wink. You know, like, there's a bunch of like stuff like that, and it's littered all throughout Masonry. I don't know it all. They teach you a bunch of that in there, but again, there's a bunch of different stuff where if you look at a lodge, it's like when a teacher asks you to analyze a poem back in high school, and you're just like, yeah, they totally didn't mean all these little like subtle crap that they want you to analyze in the poem. Yeah, the Masons meant it all. Like, everything was planned out.
See, that throws me off so much.
I love it.
It's almost like they just like
you.
messing with people.
Fuckers.
I appreciate that.
You can look it up if
you guys are just a bunch of silly, goofy guys.
Yeah.
That's the official term. Just silly, goofy guys.
Inside the Mason, inside a lodge, we keep 2 pieces of stone, the rough and the smooth ashlar. I don't know if I can tell you what they mean because it's part of the degree work, but we keep these 2 big honking things of stone. One of them is really rough, one of them is really smooth. And there's things in terms of how you should live your life based on the way that those look. There's other working tools of a Mason, like we keep a gavel there. And we would say in operative Masonry, which is again what we would call like, Freemasonry back when it was, Masons actually doing stonework. You would use the gavel in order to do X, Y, and Z. And so in this way, or, they use the square and compass in order to be able to tell the corner and stuff like that.
Right.
And we use that as the cornerstone of our life. It's not exactly that, but I'm just saying there's all sorts of like we set this up in this way to mirror old things, but we make the symbols represent new things. That's all that it is.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, the issue is you're just going to keep getting more questions, and that I can share some of it. I just don't want to say too much about certain things, but I can share most of it. Like,
oh yeah,
if you ask me, like, why is the lodge set up like this? I can tell you all of it, basically, when it comes to that. So for another discussion, I'm sure.
Why is the lodge set up like that? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things to get into, and I'd have to even do my own research to make sure. And I should say, if happens to be, I meant to say this, disclaimer at the start of this, if there's any Freemasons that are watching this, and I get things wrong, I've been in Freemasonry 3 years, there's like 50 years of things that you can learn in Freemasonry.
Right.
Don't hate me if I'm getting things wrong. If I accidentally say like one thing that I shouldn't, don't hate me. I tried my best to vet what I can and can't say. But I am not perfect when it comes to my research on Freemasonry. There's things that they teach me in the lodge. There's things that I don't know.
And I think it's good that you pointed out as well that your lodge is going to do things differently than another. There's going to be general similarities, but there's certain aspects that are not going to be conducive across Freemasonry as a whole. So this is a good
there's
glimpse.
That too.
Yeah, it's a good glimpse into what the world of Freemasonry is like, but it's not a be-all, end-all, and that's okay.
Yeah. And again, for some people, it's a total lifestyle where they're doing Masonic stuff all the time. For some people, they might show up to a lodge once a year or never.
Right.
It depends on some people. So it's different depending on the person. It's different depending on the lodge. Because, again, there's no overarching Grand Lodge of the U.S. or anything like that. It's all based on the state that you're in.
Interesting. I know in Calgary, where I live, I know there's 3 or 4. I think there's 3 Masonic temples. I know there's at least one because I fell into a bush outside one of them. Because I was very drunk and very excited that I had drunkenly stumbled across a lodge. And I tried to get a little bit closer and fell into the bush. So that was on me.
Well, if you ever want to go inside a lodge room, shoot them an email. I'm sure that they will give you a tour of a lodge room. Like, you absolutely can do that. The only thing that you can't do is be in a lodge room during a closed lodge. There are open lodges that you can go to. If you want to see some ritual being done, there are lodge events that are open to the public that just don't do, like, the degree work, as it's called, where you're doing the initiation through the 3 degrees.
Right.
There are certain lodges and there are ways open to the lodge that are public.
Lodge.
That's good to know.
Burger.
That is good to know. Because, I never would have...
burgers.
I never would have taken the initiative to interact with a lodge because it always, like... when you look at it from a conspiratorial standpoint, it seems so secretive. And when you think of something like the Illuminati and you sort of let those stereotypes transfer into Freemasonry, it comes across as a lot more secretive than it is. Obviously, there are some secrets and some things that can't be discussed, but it's not...
Yeah.
It's not the most secretive society. So it's interesting to think that, like... You can still...
The real conspiracy theorists will say that I don't know anything, though, and that you have to be higher up within the inner circles, and that it's all a ruse for the fucking inner circle. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, again, maybe. Like, I'll give it to you. Maybe that exists. If you want to go down a National Treasure rabbit hole, and if you want to go down other conspiracy theories, sometime we can talk about the Ark of the Covenant and the whole shtick with the Da Vinci Code and stuff like that, because that's a whole other rabbit hole. I didn't write any notes for that, but that is a whole other tangent. Like, we could do a whole other episode talking about where the Ark of the Covenant is, and whether it's in this random town in, like, Minnesota or some crap, like, where people think that it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of random other conspiracies, can we talk about the Count of Saint Germain?
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. So, for those of you who listened to the last episode, I vaguely remember talking about it, about him, supposedly whoever he is. We don't actually know, and that's the most interesting thing about the Count of Saint Germain. He was an alchemist, a philosopher, an artist, a scientist, and no one actually knows his real identity. But there's so many claims about who he was and what he did, and one of the biggest claims about his life and his career is his involvement with Freemasonry. And there's a lot of back and forth about whether he actually was. So I'd be interested what you found on him.
Yeah, I did a lot of research today on him. I didn't know a whole lot about Count of Saint Germain. Honestly, I knew even less before I watched listened to your last podcast. So thank you about that. Again, you covered some things well on the Count of Saint Germain. But as you said, apparently he knew, like, every language, not close to it. Apparently he was fluent in French and Italian, learned Polish and English, but Spanish was his natural language.
Yes.
Supposedly. Musical composer, as you said, chemist. Supposedly was a charmer, had really good looks, would talk everyone's ears off, and would kind of stroll through these high class parts of society and show up at all these parties and events and things like that. And again, that those languages he spoke, it's in a quote by Horace Walpole, 1743. I found the quote from that one.
Oh, perfect.
But what do you guys think about Count of Saint Germain? What do you think about him existing or not?
I think, personally,
I think he's real.
I think obviously there had to be one man, at least, that was claiming at least half of these things. I think, especially when you look at any sort of mysterious figure in history, a lot of that mystery comes from a lack of documentation, which obviously you're not going to be able to document everything before a time of the internet and constant access to everything. So it's definitely some sort of like lost in history aspect that's stopping us from finding out who he was. Do I think that he was actually this person who was like educated in Italy and met all of these people and was all over the world? Probably not to the extent that it's been emphasized. But I don't know, I think he's an impressive con man. And I don't want to say that in a like negative way, but I think he knew how to, like you said, he kind of just walked into these places of power and these positions of power as if he knew what he was doing. And realistically, that's the best way to convince people, is to just go in with no fear and act like you know what you're doing.
I literally have in my notes here, con man in capitals. I think you're dead right. If you are confident, I do sales in my day-to-day life, and I really like most of the products that I sell. I sell high-end speaker systems. I love what I do. I love the products that I sell. One of the things that I will tell other people, some of the employees that I have under me, is it is more about how you say it than what you say.
100%.
And I don't mean that in like a really negative way. Like again, you want to be correct about everything that you say. But if you just blindly have a ton of confidence that this is the greatest dang speaker you've ever heard, most of the time people that know less than you, you're going to believe it. Like everything that I said about the Freemasonry, it could be total nonsense that I'm spitting to you. But if I say it like I really know what I'm talking about, probably going to believe it.
Absolutely.
I'm believing everything you've said so far, so
it's total nonsense. The whole thing. We pull the rug out from under you, you know?
Dang it.
Yeah, I think he just really knew how to talk to people. I don't know. What do you think? So, Kate, that was your opinion. What do you think, Jamie?
I will play devil's advocate. I mean, maybe he's just super awesome. Maybe he's a genius with an eidetic memory and great personality and great personable skills, and maybe he did do most of some of the things he said.
I think you're probably partially right, Jamie. I think he was definitely very smart. Like, you can't be stupid and be that much of a con man. Like I think he probably did know all those languages, if I have to guess, or at least knew enough of some of them to get by and convince someone that he knew how to speak, English or something like that, or Polish. Like maybe he actually learned, spoke French but with an accent, and some Italian guy thought he was speaking Polish or something like that. I got no clue. But no, I think he probably did know a lot of that stuff. I believe that he was a musician and that he knew the languages, that he knew some chemistry. He was probably just a smart dude. Like, you ever watch an episode of Jeopardy and wonder how those people can know all that crap?
What a good
Canada.
show.
I don't know if you ever watch Jeopardy or game shows and stuff like that.
We love Jeopardy.
Of course, it's Trebek. He's Canadian.
Alex Trebek is my favorite person ever. I sobbed harder than I've ever sobbed in my life when I found out that he died. It was like a problem.
Rest in peace, brother.
I watch way too much Jeopardy. And man, I'm not great. I'm okay. I'm not good. I've never would be good enough to be on that show. I love trivia. But some of those people
we do Halloween Jeopardies on the show every year. Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's super
if
fun.
you want to be on it, but prepare to lose. Caitlin's won every year we've done it.
And
I would love to be on the show for Halloween Jeopardy.
Bring it on.
I would absolutely love that. One of the things that I found is, I know you guys mentioned that people thought he was a vampire because of the fact that he was living forever and things like that.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
That he's a vampire.
Stellar.
I think what was interesting for me about that concept of things was not just the vampire thing, but also the idea of like reinventing his identity as he aged. So having this general...
God. He had like 12 different names on his Wikipedia page.
Yeah. So he presented as like a general idea people knew of the Count of Saint Germain. But there's so many different... There was like a French version, there was an Italian version. He was so many different... He was always a count. It was never just a normal name. He was always a prince or a count or a marquis.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the most recent one, I can't remember his name. I'm going to have to look for it. But most recently, there was a conspiracy that he was a comedian from the last, 20 years. Because supposedly this comedian looked so much like him and was excelling in his career, an obscene amount. And they said, well, it has to be him. He has to still be here. I was like, really? You think he's going from alchemy and philosophy to stand-up comedy in 2010?
I mean, when you get bored of being a smart guy, you know?
That's a good point.
It's not Matt Rife, I'll tell you.
No, he is not Matt Rife.
The thing that I found on the vampire side that I thought was super fascinating is that towards the end of his life, when he started actually documenting a couple things, he claimed to be the son of Francis II, who was the Prince of where? The Prince of Transylvania? Mm-hmm. I'm not making that up. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Spicy, right?
That's a good point.
I don't know. I found that to be a fun little tidbit there. But I definitely think that he was real. I think no doubt that he's real. There's just way too many people that saw this guy from the mid to late 1700s that there's just no way that he could have been, not a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say there's a whole biography written on him, 1912, by some Isabel Cooper Oakley. Apparently that's the most well-known biography. I may have to read it. This guy is so fascinating.
He's insane. In terms of his connection to Freemasonry, I know there are a couple of, as we were saying at the beginning, when the logbook where people are logging their interactions at the meetings, there's a few entries where people are suspecting, he never would sign in, obviously, as, the Count of St. Germain's here. There would be a name there rather than a title. But there's a few accounts of his supposed pseudonyms attending different lodges. So I'm curious to know if there was ever anything mentioned about, maybe not even necessarily him, but if people like him who are kind of more mysterious. Anything in that realm?
Yeah. So specifically him, I have never once heard the name Count of St. Germain brought up within the Masonic Lodge. Now again, we have people that will come to us during certain lodge meetings and do lectures on all sorts of things. Seriously, some conspiracy theory sort of stuff that they'll give lectures on. We did a whole lecture that I could try to write down and regurgitate sometime about where the Ark of the Covenant is. It was awesome. It was a super great one, and we got into all sorts of conspiracy theories about there's ideas that Jesus had a wife, basically, which is a crazy theory, and that's where some of it comes from. There's all sorts of these interesting ideas that we'll discuss from time to time. I have not heard of the Count Saint Germain through Freemasonry before we started talking here. But, as you said, I would not be stunned at all if he was a Freemason. Because, again, if you wanted to meet powerful people in the 1700s, you probably wanted to be a Freemason.
Right.
Just from a straight, this guy was showing up at parties, getting himself into the court of King Louis XV, apparently. Apparently he had his own, laboratory within King Louis XV at Versailles, supposedly. I think that would have been Versailles. But he was seen at the premier Grand Lodge of England. There was some subset of Freemasonry called the Freemasonry Society in The Hague in the Netherlands, otherwise known as Den Haag. That's the name of it. So, again, there's enough of these areas that you see him at. Yeah. I would say if he exists, he was a Freemason, or at least enough of a con man to know how to be able to get enough signs and crap out of Freemasons to be able to get into the area.
Right. Okay, interesting.
100%.
And you make a good point in saying, especially if he is as much of a con man as we perceive him to be, you're absolutely right. In the 1700s, that would be the place to meet anybody. There's such a good mixture of people of power, of, I guess it sounds harsh to say, but of common folk. You really get a chance to mingle with all of the levels of society because, as you said, everyone's on the same playing field at that point. So it's definitely a good way to...
And so if you stumble in there, you make a good impression on someone within that, right? Like, yeah, that definitely, right?
I don't know. I don't really have, like, more questions about it. It's just an interesting thing that I've always considered, like, how a man of so much mystery can be intertwined in this fraternity that seems to have so much mystery behind it. And, like, if there's ever any mention of that...
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think my favorite quote that I found about the Count of Saint Germain comes from this guy. I'm going to butcher it, but his name is Giacomo Casanova. He had this quote that I'm going to paraphrase it, but it essentially said that they ate a meal together, and Saint Germain talked the entire time instead of eating. Like, there was no food consumed in this meal. He talked, telling these wild stories the whole time, and the guy said it was like the best meal that he ever ate. Giacomo Casanova.
Well, that would make sense.
And that kind of summed up what I was talking about.
He was just a narcissist.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of anime, but I've been recently watching One Piece, and there's this character named Usopp, or Usopp in One Piece, and he's this guy that just goes around telling all sorts of lies. Like, he sits there, like, wooing this princess character that has a ton of money by telling her that he's going out and slaying dragons and stuff like that. And I imagine that, Count Germain as being the successful version of this guy who's very unsuccessful in One Piece.
100%. I know there's a lot of accounts of interactions with him where everyone said, well, I had this perception of you. And he would say, oh, no, I'm doing alchemy now. Oh, no, I'm doing music now. Oh, I'm a Freemason now, so I'm focusing on learning all that I can. So there was no consistency, but it was just constant, like, oh, I'm a master at this. I'm doing so good at this.
100%. I think that it's very possible that some of the effect of, like, what happened with those guys that were writing the books about the Illuminati could have also happened, where people just thought it was really funny to go around and start claiming that they were the Count of Saint Germain.
Totally.
Like, if no one knows who this guy is, like, it's very possible that a couple people just start writing in this man's alias.
Absolutely.
If no one knows who this guy is.
I feel that way.
Like, you want to stroll into some place anonymous? Write a name that already exists that no one knows who he is.
Exactly. There's no way of... No, I feel that way about Rasputin. I don't know. I feel like...
Yep.
It's a weird connection to make, but along that same vein, I feel like people were like, yeah, no, he's still around. It's me. And no one would have any way of...
There's conspiracy theories about Shakespeare that are essentially the same thing, that he didn't actually exist, and there's a bunch of different pseudonyms of different people writing his place.
Absolutely.
Why does it have to be any different for Saint Germain?
So she knows all about that.
Yeah.
I was an honorary member of the Shakespeare Club of my high school, just to let you know, and I know nothing. So you can run circles around me in that.
I was a theater kid for 12 years, so...
Yeah, I don't know. Was he a vampire? I don't know. Count of Saint Germain, if you're listening, do you want to come on the show?
That's what we said last time. You have an open...
Email us.
Open invitation. Send us an email. We would love to have you on the show.
All I'm saying is, why have we not had, like, a Netflix show about Saint Germain yet? Like, I want to see this guy, like, take him from the con man perspective. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was just gonna say that.
Like, I want Saint Germain version of Catch Me If You Can. Like, write it. Absolutely. Make it happen. That's my $1 million idea. Netflix writers, thank me when you have your next successful show. It's bigger than Stranger Things. Yeah, I don't know. There's a list of different things that have counts of Saint Germain in them, by the way, on the Wikipedia page. It's long. Like, there is like video games where he's a playable character. There are like role-playing games that the like Dungeons and Dragons style stuff that have crossovers. I just want to see Con Man Saint Germain the show.
Absolutely. And you know what?
I'm going to put him in my next D&D campaign.
The amount of times I have mentioned the Count of Saint Germain and had people say, I've never heard of this person. I have no context, which is fair, but I think he's so fascinating. Even if he was not real, even if he was like the Shakespearean concept of multiple people pretending to be this one identity, I think it's such a fascinating phenomenon. And I think more people need to know about him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very happy that you both had me on the show, both to be able to talk about Freemasonry, but also I would have never done this dig into the Count of Saint Germain if it wasn't for this.
Oh.
I would not have known most of that.
Fantastic. That makes me so happy.
I mean, that's something that I kind of love about doing research for the podcast. I go looking for something online, and then I find 10 other things that I also want to write about because I've just gone down this rabbit hole. So.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have any closing arguments? Any final fun facts we want to throw in? Any last questions for our fabulous guest?
The Illuminati is a reptilian vampire named Doja Cat Saint Germain.
Doja Cat is Saint Germain.
We figured it out.
And she is also a Freemason.
Absolutely.
In disguise.
I was gonna say, was she a woman the whole time, or is part of it the magic gender bend?
Oh, that's part of the magic.
She can change from her Doja form to Saint Germain man form.
Got it. There's an alchemy potion for that. I got it.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, yeah.
How do you close better than that? That's James.
Do you want to shout yourself out again?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much, Kate and Jamie, for having me on the show here. If you want to get at any of the things that I do, I stream twice a week over on my Twitch channel. It'll be linked in the description, but it's twitch.tv/thisisvisser. We have a Discord that we hang out in all the time. We're actually playing some games in there tonight. Outside of that, maybe I'll link my Twitter that's dead or something like that too. But again, thank you so much for having me. I'm hoping to get into more content other places. We do a lot of community games and fun stuff on the Twitch, but I'd like to do something that's history focused or, I love history, true crime, all this sort of stuff that you guys get into. So again, thank you for having me.
My language. Thank you so much for joining us. We were
thank
so
you.
excited to have you on the show. So excited to get to chat with you. And I mean, you exceeded our expectation. I appreciate you doing as much research as you did. We love being able to talk about stuff like this. But we really do appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and dedicating as much time as you did into the research. So we appreciate it. We're very happy to have you. You are welcome back anytime you'd like to talk about anything. I'd love to have you back to talk about the Ark of the Covenant. But we can we can chat about that. But in terms of our socials, if you guys would like to reach out to us, if you have questions for us or for our guest, if you would like us to send you any of that, like he said, all of his socials and stuff will be linked in the description. But if you'd like us to send it to you, you can reach out to us at our email, which is creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram or Twitter @creepsandcoffee. And if you would like to follow along on a behind the scenes of what our recording sessions are like and get a little bit more information about us, and if you would like to help support the show, you can check out our Buy Me a Coffee page, which is buymeacoffee.com/creepsandcoffee. Thank you so much again. I am determined to stay alive until I'm 100, until women are allowed into all of the Freemason lodges, and then we can hang out.
Excellent. Yeah, no, all you need to do is become the Count of Saint Germain, and then you can stay alive until it.
Sick. I'm going to work on it.
I'm going to go join the Illuminati. I gotta go.
All right, take care. Illuminati meetings happening right now. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye. Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jane.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram and Twitter @Creeps and Coffee.